He bought that mic, and now he's got a podcast show.
So let's talk about business just for a minute, because we've
Sure.
been doing a lot of personal stuff. And what are you working on?
Well, right now, or within the last little bit over a year now, we've bought, own, and operate a vacation rental here in Charleston, South Carolina. So
Okay.
it is basically an apartment style building. It's a single family residence, but there are 3 levels in the building, and it's really beautiful. The RGC, that we co-manage some of the other buildings with adjacent to us, just did an absolutely beautiful design on building it and renovating it and doing all the stuff inside. And so my job is to maintain it and make sure that we're still making revenue and booking all the things and making sure our prices are correct, automating a lot of our systems and things like that. So that has been my full-time job, if you will, the little over the past year. And it's had a lot of ups and downs, a lot of learning opportunities for me, and it's been challenging but rewarding at the same time.
Yeah, so it's short-term rental. Is it downtown Charleston or
Downtown in the short-term rental zone? So
Perfect.
for those that are not familiar, like Charleston has on the peninsula specifically in Charleston has super strict regulations on who and where you can rent short-term rental wise.
Yeah, so if you're listening or watching, this is a good place for Ryan to tag a gold nugget. I've heard a lot of negative talk about short-term rental in the Charleston area. A lot of negative talk. It's not negative. It's just being precise with your location.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be, beaches, downtown. So if you need help with that, reach out to us. If you're listening or watching this, reach out to us and we can help you identify some of those zones. And that's a service that we offer. So bring it on. So the short-term rental is your primary focus right now?
That is my primary focus. We are looking at and evaluating some other rentals in other areas as well. So as you said, location is the absolute best thing you can do for a short-term rental or vacation rental. You can't pick up and just move a house or say, hey, I would prefer this location. You got to buy in the right location. So we have a property downtown Charleston we absolutely love. It's kind of a if you will, like not like a super urban, but urban compared to the beaches of Charleston. It's in the heart of downtown, walking location to all the top end restaurants and shopping experiences that Charleston has to offer, all the historic stuff. But then outside of that, we want to keep adding to our portfolio. And what we want to add is just a different type of getaway. So we're looking at lake houses in the upstate of South Carolina. So around like Lake Hartwell, Lake Keowee, somewhere up there that would allow for a different type of experience, go in the opposite direction. It's kind of unique up there. When you're doing your underwriting, because it's so close to Clemson University, you have to underwrite. You have to look at the underwriting for both all the sports seasons that they have, but then all the collegiate activities that go on at the university as well. So graduations, drop off, pick up, all those different things. So you have to look at those spikes as well as like it's on a lake. So you're going to get summer rentals, you'll get some fall rentals, and you have to look at the revenue. And sometimes it spikes. Like, unfortunately for me, Clemson's having a really awful football season. So they're not renting.
It happens.
It does, but they're not renting quite as well up there. So I've talked to some owners and they're taking a dip right now in their normal peak season.
Support your team. Go rent it anyway.
Yeah. But then you have things like unforeseen events. So there's been a lot of rumors that have come to fruition now that Clemson was going to bring back allowing artists to play inside of the stadium, the football stadium, Memorial Stadium at Clemson. So the first concert since I want to say 1996. You'll have to fact check me on that, but I think it's 1996 was the last concert held in Memorial Stadium.
Why
the first
is that?
one is going to be 2026. It's George Strait and Cody Jones on May 2nd.
Ooh.
So all of a sudden, if you have a vacation rental, May now becomes a way better prospect for you.
I might be your renter for George Strait.
We got our tickets early. We'll be there. So if you're there, we'll be in the what's that? The north side. Is that correct? Yeah, the north side, the home side.
Interesting. So they haven't done concerts in what year? 20 years? I mean, that's 20 years.
30
right?
years.
30 years. I wonder why.
I'm not sure. There was some, from my understanding, the field is in a lot better shape than it used to be in the 90s. I think our technology and what Clemson does for the field is a lot better. But I mean, it's incredibly detrimental to host a concert on a football field.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right.
I think they hold normally around like 82 to 84,000 fans. I saw that with the concert, they're going to allow, but with the field access, they will allow up to 90,000 attendees.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's going to be great. But if you're in the market like we are for a vacation rental, that now opens up a different revenue stream when you're underwriting. And so you have to look at, okay, if they're going to bring back the summer concert series, now I have another revenue stream coming in, and my prices may be maybe a little bit higher in the summertime where maybe they weren't as high. You get some lake rentals and stuff like that. But now in May, which was probably a dead month, I would imagine, looking at some of the underwriting, you may get some spikes. So, it's those types of things that you have to know your market. You have to know your environment, what you're doing. And because, again, you're so close to the university, you have to look at what they're doing as well from an academic, sports, and then outside of that as well, how to add all that in there.
Yeah, it's like any economy. If it's just if there's a dominant force in the economy, it can be very volatile. As opposed to one of the things I like about Charleston, South Carolina, where you and I live, is we have Volvo, we have Mercedes, we have Boeing, we have Google, we have a good tourist economy, we have a good hospitality economy to go around the tourist economy, and it's a stack of things, as opposed to a place. I grew up in Harrisonburg, Virginia, and went to James Madison University, and JMU pretty much runs the town. And Clemson's the same way. And USC, not quite as much because it's a
Right. Yeah.
capital and there's other, but James Madison in Virginia has made a huge impact on that town. And so what you're saying about Clemson not hosting concerts for that many years, and then they make the change, it has a huge impact. So it's really knowing your market can be
Exactly.
critical. So
Well, listen.
fun story. So
Well, listen, this is the first time hearing that you went to JMU. So they were a de facto rival of Coastal Carolina. So they came to Conway in 2006, I'm pretty sure, as the number one team in the nation. Chanticleers came out victorious. But
no.
3 years later, we went to JMU. I was not there at the time, but the Coastal went to JMU and got our butts handed to us. So
I might have been there.
it was
2009.
I want to say somewhere around there, I think is correct. It was after I graduated. I graduated in 2008. It was after I had left. I would say within a year or two after I left, they were up back at JMU and they got handed a big L at that point in time.
Yeah, we're big fish in a small pond.
Know the feeling.
Yeah, my friends are diehard season ticket holders. We're in our late 50s now, and Mike, my buddy, texted me. He was like, "You coming for a game?" I was like, "It's a 7-hour drive." And he said, "Well, Scott lives near you. You and Scott come." It's like, all right,
that's fine.
well, we'll think about it. But I went to homecoming in 2009 or 2010. So I wondered if that was the game. Yeah, my friends are ecstatic about the record. I mean, the JMU Dukes have done very, very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what are we, Division III? Is that right?
No, we both Coastal and JMU have stepped up, so they are now part of the what they're calling it. It's not. There's a group of four, or the Power Four, and then the group of five. So they're in the group of five. I want to say James Madison, Coastal's in the Sun Belt, or as we like to call it, the Fun Belt, and then I think JMU is either in the Sun Belt as well, or maybe Conference USA. I'd have to double check.
Yeah. Well, you love the sports and the engagement. Why did you choose the career that you have as an entrepreneur rather than being a coach?
Well, honestly, there were a couple of reasons. It really came down to, if I look back, my senior year, I had an opportunity to interview for what they call a graduate assistant job, which is, for those that are not aware, in most college athletics, to get your foot in the door, you basically work for free for a couple of years. So what you do is you trade your time for a
Right.
master's degree. So they kind of disguise getting your master's degree as a way to pay you. So you go in, you get your master's degree, the school pays for your master's degree. Honestly, that's really arbitrary for most people because they're going to be a coach the rest of their life. They go get a master's degree in some, like, I don't want to belittle it, but some like entry level, like the easiest thing that they could possibly do. And then you work outside of that, you work for whatever athletic team you're on the thing for. So you do that. And I had an opportunity to go interview at this really small college in Oklahoma. So I was looking at doing that, but I had already met my now wife. We had been dating for a little while. And I said, okay, do I want to hitch my wagon to her early on? Or do I want to go try to pursue this thing, which I would probably, I mean, there's I think better than 50% chance I would have bounced out like most coaches do. I'd have ended up in high school, which was what I was going to go to anyway, but I wanted to try the college route for a little while. And I didn't want to, I knew I wanted to be a family man at some point. I want to be a dad. I want to be a husband to my, now wife. And I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And what I didn't want to do was bounce around. And most college coaches, every 1 to 3 years, they're moving.
Yeah, it's a cowboy. It's a cowboy job.
Exactly. And it's, I did that a little bit when I was younger, but we were in the state of South Carolina. So we didn't move far.
Right.
I know I have a buddy
Right.
that's in college coaching. He's lived in South Carolina. He's lived in Tennessee. He now lives in Virginia, and he does it. He does a great job. And I texted him the other day that his team's doing really well, and they're rocking and rolling, and he loves it, and his family supports him, and most of those do. And that was not the life that I wanted at that time. So I sat down and had just like exactly. And so I ended up in the. I wasn't an entrepreneur at first. Actually, I went into like a corporate 9-to-5, and I did that for a while. And ultimately what landed me or started my train thought down to being an entrepreneur. I was at a very large organization. I was doing incredibly well. I had a sales team that I had taken over for about 4.5 years, and I took them from a $500,000 sales organization to a $4.1 million sales organization. And we were rocking and rolling, but the company globally decided that my position was no longer necessary. So they cut my position. And so there were 440 of us worldwide that no longer had a job. Now, we were lucky in that they gave us a landing spot temporarily internally, but it was more of a retail type focus as opposed to my B2B focus. So I was selling to other businesses as opposed to retail. The retail lifestyle did not fit me. It did not fit my family at the time. And so that I ended up with a few other corporate jobs, but when the opportunity jumped at me to chase being an entrepreneur, I didn't want to be a number on a spreadsheet anymore. I wanted to try to take my future into my own hands. And
so how do other people do what you've done?
You got to do your research ahead of time. I would tell you need to have some finances in your back pocket, at least to get you through a couple of months to make sure you got things going on. You got to do your research. Don't jump in blindly. I've seen a lot of people do that. I think a lot of people can do this. One, you got to do your research, but you just got to have the gumption to just say, hey, I got to rip this Band-Aid off and do it. There are a lot of people that coach and play from the sidelines. And I can tell you now, being in the fire for the last 5 years, it's a lot different when you're doing it yourself than like reading or thinking about it. I still read a lot of entrepreneurial books, a lot of business books. I read one recently, and the guy had a lot of good concepts, except he had never been an entrepreneur. He's actually a career academic, and he had a lot of good ideas, but some of them I just didn't agree with because I'm like, this really wouldn't work.
I mean, do they work or not work?
All of his stuff was theoretical, and he was really more disproving people that were doing the work in the field versus what he proposed you do. So anyway, I think if you're going to do it, if you're thinking about doing it, it can be incredibly powerful. The lifestyle that I live empowers me to do things that I never would have thought I did. I'm a better husband. I'm a better dad. I'm a better friend because the lifestyle that I have, while we're still working and grinding and want to be more successful, it allots me things and abilities that I would have never had working a 9-to-5 job.
Well, talk about that for a minute, about the lifestyle and what does that look like and why is that important?
Well, I get to drop my kids off at school every day. I get to pick them up from school every day. And let me tell you, my kids are 7. So Luke Combs has this song called Front Door Famous. And I absolutely love that song because my kids are still in that age where when I come home, and I don't travel a lot and I don't go a bunch of long distances but when I come back, even if it's a short trip or just working for the day, out not in my house, they still scream dad when they come to the door. And that is the best medicine, the most energy, just everything bundled up. Like there is nothing better in this world than them doing that, and then I get a hug and a kiss from my wife when I get home. So when I get to pick my kids up and they still love seeing dad in the car rider line picking them up after their after school care, they sprint to the car. Like that is everything about what I want to be. It's everything that this lifestyle affords me to be. I'm a coach at every one of their Little League events. Whether I'm the head coach or assisting, I get to help out. I get to be a part of that. The other day, I picked them up early from after school care. We played catch for an hour and a half. Like, I mean, there is nothing in this world that to me that's better than being a husband and a dad. And this lifestyle allows me to do that. And I could have done part of that from a 9 to 5, but I'm still beholden to somebody else. And I'm also making somebody else a lot of money.
Right. Well, and in my experience, it doesn't take as much money as we think it will to make that happen, especially because you have a spouse, and I have a spouse who has some sort of income, and it's so great to be able to make that choice and to be able to make, I mean, I'm working on a deal right now that'll make me $200,000. That's a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of risk. It may not work out the way I think it will, but to have the opportunity to even pursue that, to me is amazing. And still, my kids are all driving, so they're a little bit older. But to be able to go spend the weekend in Columbia with my daughter at college,
right?
Or to my other daughter was with us last night, and I saw her for breakfast this morning, and I didn't have to rush off anywhere and not have breakfast with her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a small thing and it's a big thing at the same time.
No, absolutely. I mean, my wife and I, I'd say 99% of all mornings, sometimes that she has a crazy schedule and she has to get into work super early because she's got to do a document signing. But every morning after we drop off, our kids are in school by 7:15 every morning. We get back to the house. That's our quiet time. We sit down beside each other. We put our phones away and we grab a cup of coffee and we talk about things that are either on our mind personally, professionally. We sync our calendars. We're talking about things that we got to get done that day. What are like the top 3 to 5 things that we absolutely have to get done today? What are the things we got to get done this week? Or do we have weekend plans? You know, I got to get the school snacks today for the party tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, those types of things.
Tomorrow.
Exactly. So we have to, we get to sync up, but I get, 30 to 60 minutes with my wife every morning where we just get to sit there and we get to chat and we get to be two human beings sitting beside each other doing that. And so again, I wouldn't have had that otherwise. I was on the road 2 to 3 days a week. I was flying somewhere, driving somewhere. I was in hotels, all this stuff. But now I get to sit beside my wife. And then, after this, I have a reminder on my calendar. I got to go set out meat because I'm the one who cooks for our family. So I got to go set out some meat for tonight for what we're having for dinner. And I get to do that. And I get to make sure we have healthy, nutritious meals, and not all the time, but most of the time that we doing that kind of stuff. So it's just everything. I'm definitely in this for, like, I want to get paid. I like what it affords me financially, but at the end of the day, the tax incentives, the time with my family, the time with my kids, my wife, is absolutely the best thing about what I do.
Yeah, I love it.
He went to a bar, refused to shine, didn't buy no beer, and said, I tell you what, my name is Russ, I'm on the mic, so listen to my podcast show.